Dear listener, gather close and let me take you on a journey to the heart of southern Nigeria, where palm trees sway like dancers in a gentle breeze. The earth sighs with rich red soils, and the whispers of the ancestors echo through the hills. Today, we uncover the tale you've never heard before, one of destiny, sorrow, and courage. This is the story of Olaedo, the orphan they never knew was a princess. Before we dive in, remember to subscribe to Storytime Africa, where the soul of our land lives on through stories like these. Long ago, in a land not ruled by swords but by wisdom, there thrived the kingdom of Ndi Nri. It was no ordinary realm, for its people had perfected the art of harmony. Guided by their sacred Ozo council, they revered the spirits of Ani, the earth goddess, and Amadioha, the god of justice. Ndi Nri's streets were golden with sunlight, and its air perfumed by frangipani blooms. Women in hand-woven aqua ocha fabrics carried clay jars on their heads, singing songs that braided joy into their labor. The kingdom's beauty was matched only by its peace, for the Ndi Nri people knew there could be no riches greater than living in balance with their land. But even the most tranquil waters can hide deep currents. Olaedo was named for the very thing her mother had seen in her eyes the day she was born: gold. But Olaedo's early days were anything but golden. Her parents had been traders, journeying far beyond the kingdom to exchange baobab oil for salt, while little Olaedo remained behind in her grandmother's care. It was on one such fateful trip that a fever swept through the southern trade routes, claiming her parents and leaving their stories untold forever. At only 5 years old, Olaedo was an orphan. Her life turned into shadows, whispers behind her back, and the dull ache of wondering why the gods had stolen her happiness. She lived now in her aunt's compound, if one could call it living. Her days began before cockcrow, fetching water, scrubbing pots until her knuckles bled, always told she should be grateful, and so she grew. The gold in her spirit dulled by the grindstone of survival. The people of the village often ignored her, except for Amadi, the respected but cunning elder. His sharp brow and calculating gaze seemed to pierce through all secrets, and whenever their paths crossed, he left her uneasy. It was as though he knew something she didn't. What no one, not even Olaedo herself, knew was that her blood carried the lineage of Eze Omekanaya, the last king of Ndi Nri. Her father had been the heir, but in shame fueled by a scandal concocted by Amadi, the family had chosen exile over dishonor. And so, the throne remained empty until now. Fate began its slow unveiling on one golden evening when the village griot spoke of bones unearthed near the sacred Iroko tree at the edge of the forest. The diviners decreed they could only belong to one of royal lineage. They summoned the Ozo Council to divine their meaning, and it was there the spirits of the ancestors revealed the truth that had stayed hidden for so long. Olaedo was the rightful princess. But how could she rule a people who had known her as nothing but a lowly servant? How could she step into shoes seemingly carved for someone the gods had forgotten? The journey began as a quest not for glory, but for answers. Led by the diviners, Olaedo returned to the village compound, a place that now seemed stranger than ever. She bowed her head, expecting scorn, but instead, the villagers whispered prayers and gave quiet bows. The revelation of her royal blood had spread like wildfire. Not everyone welcomed the news with open arms. Chief Amadi, who had gained considerable sway in the absence of a monarch, saw Olaedo's rise as a direct threat to his ambitions. His lips tightened like a python ready to strike when the Ozo Council declared her the light these troubled times needed.
Are we to entrust the throne to a girl raised without knowledge of governance, a girl who doesn't know our traditions? She lived among us as a pauper. What wisdom will poverty bring to the royal stool?
But Olaedo found unexpected allies. Mazi Ude, A respected palm wine tapper stepped forward. "Perhaps it is in her humility that her strength lies," he said. "A kingdom ruled by arrogance is no better than ruin." Olaedo stood, her small voice carrying the weight of ancestors. "I do not claim to know everything, but let no one teach me that I do not carry the Ndi Nri spirit. This land lives in me as much as it lives in you, and I am prepared to serve." The villagers erupted into chants of her name, but Amadi's eyes burned with unspoken plots. Her ascension to the throne was not the ending of her quest. It was only the beginning of a rule fraught with trials. For one, the seasons had grown fickle. Crops withered under unrelenting sun, and whispers of famine stalked the kingdom. Olaedo's first act as princess was to consult the high priest of Ani, who decreed the kingdom needed a cleansing festival and a rededication of the sacred grove.
"Our coffers are thin," he declared during the council meeting. How would the princess pay for such extravagance without plunging Ndi Nri further into despair?
Though Amadi failed to sway the council, he stirred discontent among some villagers, who began to wonder if their newfound princess was a blessing or a calamity. Olaedo, feeling the weight of their doubt, spent her nights in restless sleep. The beds of royalty did not come with peace, but she found strength in unexpected places. Adaku, a childhood friend she had thought lost to time, returned to her side. Adaku was now a skilled weaver, and she gave Olaedo the same advice she once whispered into their shared mosquito net as children. When challenges spread like raffia, weave them together until they make something beautiful. With renewed resolve, Olaedo spearheaded an effort to rejuvenate the land by introducing irrigation techniques passed down from ancient wisdom. Together with the villagers, she worked barefoot in the fields, earning both praise and raised eyebrows. When the festival finally came to life, it was not the grand spectacle Amadi had claimed it would be, but a humble celebration filled with the honest laughter of people united by hope. The sacrifice was offered, and the rains returned. The fields, once barren, began to flourish. But Olaedo's path to greatness was still shadowed by Amadi's schemes. Amadi did not tire. No cobra so easily gives up its venom. He spread poison in the form of rumors. Claiming Olaedo's closeness to the common folk dishonored the sacred traditions of Ndi Nri, but each attempt to undermine her was met by Olaedo's quiet patience.
She has brought famine, and now she invites disaster by dirtied hands.
Olaedo's path was not easy, but her quiet patience was her strength. "A king does not rule by crushing the snake," she told the council one day as Amadi glowered. "Sometimes it is better to learn how its venom is harvested for healing." Ultimately, it was Olaedo's own golden spirit, her namesake, that burned through the shadows. At a climactic council meeting, she exposed Amadi's hand in a plot to embezzle funds meant to build granaries for Ndi Nri. The fury of the Ozo Council was swift, and Amadi, stripped of his titles, left the kingdom in disgrace. Ndi Nri thrived anew under Olaedo's reign, yet she remained humble, often walking barefoot through the fields to feel the land she served. She placed the kingdom's youngest at the heart of her efforts, building schools and teaching them the songs of the ancestors, for she had learned the bitter lesson of lost knowledge and would ensure it never faded. And still, her journey was only beginning, for no true ruler sees a destination, only a path paved with integrity. And so, dear listener, let Olaedo's tale be a lesson that the smallest spark beaten down by life's winds can be fanned into a blaze that lights even the darkest night. Don't let this story be the last you hear. Our land has so many more. Subscribe to Storytime Africa and let's continue the journey together. Until next time.